everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Cupid. I am your host, Marla Martenson, and today we're going to talk dreams with Jason DeBord. Hey, Jason!
Hi, Marla.
Gosh, this is so exciting because when I go to sleep at night, it's like going to the movies. I've always had vivid dreams, and I remember my dreams, and there's dreams that sometimes they have music to them. It's like action movies. So I'm excited. I've got Jason's book, Dreams 1, 2, 3. And this is so interesting because he talks about all the meanings, the symbols, all kinds of things. And I like the 3 things you say: remember, interpret, and live your dreams.
Those are really the 3 steps that people need to follow if they want to do dream work. You have to remember your dreams in order to be able to figure out what they mean. And then once you do figure out what they mean, then what do you do with the information? How does it benefit you in your life? And how does it benefit the people that are part of your life, your loved ones and coworkers and friends? And, so I take it from the beginning to show people that it really is not as complicated as it can seem. If you read like Sigmund Freud's interpretation of dreams, you can walk away going, man, this stuff is deep, But really, dreams speak to you in a language of symbolism. And once you understand that part of it, and that dreams tell you stories about yourself and your life, then you can look at your dreams and go, oh, wait a minute, maybe this isn't just a mishmash of imagery. Maybe there really is something here that I can gain from, that I can understand. So,
well, last night I had a very vivid dream. It was more early morning maybe, and I still remember it. There was a big lion or tiger outside on our outside, and it was trying to get through the doggy door. And it kept getting through, and I was pushing it through, and I was trying to put that thing down so it can't get through, and it kept trying to get in the house, and then it'd get in, and I'd push it out, and I'd say, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're going to, be dangerous. You can't come in here. And it kept trying to get in, and it was so vivid. And I wasn't super scared, but I was like, I got to keep this tiger out. And then I called 911, and they weren't coming, and I looked outside, and there was this big brick wall that was being built by the neighbor. So, I don't know, there's a lion at my door.
Wow. Well, if you live in the mountains, you got to look out for mountain lions, but it's unlikely you're going to run across a tiger, so the literal interpretation isn't very likely.
Yeah.
What I would look at is, 1, you're trying to keep something out of your house, so you would ask yourself, is there someone pushy trying to invade into my life? Or is this something about myself that maybe I don't want to acknowledge that is trying to make itself aware to me? I have found that creatures like panthers and tigers and lions, powerful cats, tend to represent sides or aspects of yourself that is trying to make its way and become conscious. It's maybe more powerful and potent parts of yourself that are not fully realized. They're not fully conscious yet. So I would suggest that you try to make friends with that tiger. You can daydream about this and access your dream life through your daydreams. And you can actually go in and talk to that tiger and say, hey, are you trying to show me something about myself that maybe I'm not realizing? Maybe there's a greater potential that I'm not fulfilling in myself. Maybe there's something great about myself that I don't want to acknowledge, because once you acknowledge it, then you have to live up to it. So
talk to it like what?
Very interesting dream, Marla.
Talk to it like in a meditation or what?
Yeah. It's an aspect of yourself that is being brought to life in your dreams. So it's called active imagination. It was first popularized by Carl Jung, but it's also used in many forms of self-help therapy. Athletes use it. And you see something that is in your dream that's a character or even an inanimate object, and you can talk to it and ask it questions, and then you listen for that deep voice. And you want to be in a quiet, reflective, call it meditative state when you do it. It doesn't have to be like, deeply into the Om or anything, but just where you can really tune everything else out and just listen to the little voice inside. Your imagination that you use while you're daydreaming really is the precursor to dreamings. Research has shown that what a dream is basically a daydream, but without any distraction. So it becomes a more potent experience because you have nothing else to draw your attention away. And so you can use that same faculty for daydreaming to re-enter into a dream, but do it with your conscious mind active, where you can start asking questions of the characters and the objects, and they can sometimes speak back to you also. That's what you're looking for, is for the tiger to start talking to you and say, hey, Marla, I'm part of you that you're not acknowledging, or I want to be a more active part of your life. It could be someone in your life who's trying to work their way in, but most dreams are about the internal dynamics of what's going on in your head and your heart.
Well, and I've been told by an intuitive that's done a reading on me a couple of times, the same person, that I have my guides. Some of my guides are female cats from Egypt, female feline family.
You're onto something there, and the dream provides you with great imagery that you can use in your imagination, because you don't have to make it up consciously. The dream provides the imagery, and all you have to do is immerse yourself into the memories of it, and it's like you're right back into the scene again, except your conscious rational mind is along with you, and it can use your training and skill and abilities, whether in your intuition, your rationality, to analyze what's going on, to feel your way through it, and to gain more insight and clarity about what the dream means.
That's exciting.
I recommend it.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you about my business, which is the business of love. I play Cupid. I'm a matchmaker, and how dreams can play into that, because literally, as you brought this up in an email we exchanged, you said, people will say, I'm looking for the person of my dreams, the man of my dreams. And we're dreaming, that daydream about how that person has to be, a certain height, certain hair color. Today I had a gal say no to a guy because she likes darker hair, or somebody likes taller, or men who like only one eye color or hair color. So Speak a little bit about that, because you have something to say about that.
Sure. We hear these phrases such as, man of your dreams, woman of your dreams. And people, they take it as an expression, a figure of speech. But there is a deeper truth to it, which is that your dreams can really help you to find the right person for you. Because when you say person of your dreams, what you're really saying is ideal mate, or as close as I can get, right? So there's a deeper wisdom if you will understand that there's a figurative and also a literal way of looking at these phrases and understanding them. It's kind of the same as when I say in my book, live your dreams. What I really mean is make your dreams an active and conscious part of your daily life. Your dream life doesn't have to end when you wake up. You can actually live your dreams, and that by doing that, it can tie in with the larger idea of what most people think is that when you make your dreams come true, it means that your wishes and desires become, part of your life. The typical scene is sort of like, well, I'm on my boat down in the Caribbean with my mimosa in one hand, and I'm sailing around, and I get to live the life that I really want to live. Yeah. Well, you can also find the person that you really want to have if you listen to your dreams, and there's really two ways of going about it. One is that your dreams can teach you about your love life. They can teach you about who is the right and who is the wrong sort of person for you. They can teach you to learn from your past mistakes and successes. They can even show you that maybe your mind can be more open to different types of people. I have seen specific dreams where, like, let's say that that lady who says that she wants someone with darker hair. Well, let's say that a blonde, God man type figure. Now, I shouldn't be too, but
like Fabio, the flowing blonde hair.
Yeah, he's the perfect guy, and she realizes that, hey, I fell in love with this guy in a dream, but I have been excluding blondes because they're not my type. But really, what are you looking for? Is it all surface, or are you going to look in here too for the right kind of qualities and characteristics that you want, in a mate? So there are a lot of things that your dreams can teach you about yourself, about what your preferences are, maybe opening your mind to more possibilities, about learning about yourself. One of the most attractive things that I find in a person is a strong integrated personality. And your dreams the whole process of dreams is really, that is the end goal that's in mind. Carl Jung called it the process of individuation. And what it means is you come together, all the various aspects of yourself, and it comes together as an integrated whole. And a person who has an integrated, strong personality is a very naturally attractive person. It doesn't matter what they look like. So, yeah, this idea that you can find the person of your dreams, take it literally instead of figuratively, because there's a real wisdom to it.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting how we have that idea. Everybody's different. What kind of look we have that we think we want, and it's curious. Like, where did we get that? So that's very interesting too. You know, like specific types. Um, and what about? So how do you think your dreams can help you in your relationship when you're in a relationship?
Well, anytime that your significant other is in a dream with you, it's most likely that the dream is related to something about your relationship, about the person.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just give you a quick example. Here's a very common theme. You're trying to reach your SO, your significant other, on the phone, and the call won't go through. The line is busy. You can't find their phone number. Oftentimes, what this theme relates back to is communication issues. You're trying to express something to the person and they don't seem to be getting it. Or the phone is busy and, well, hey, guess what? They've been spending 60 hours a week at work and they're exhausted when they get home. So their mind is busy, or they are physically busy and they don't have the same time for you. So you can start to identify these themes in your dreams that come up. Your dream ego, the you in dreamland, is basically the same as your regular waking life ego, except for it's less restrained.
Mm-hmm.
It tends to come more from the gut, and it tends to bypass the filters in the mind. So the way you react to things in dreams tends to show your more raw, honest feelings about it. So let's say, for example, that you've been dating someone. And let's say that you've had 3 or 4 dates, and now you're kind of getting around to the point where you have to make a decision whether or not you're going to continue with this or whether or not it's a waste of time. And you can look at, if you have a dream about that person, look at how you react to them. Mm-hmm. If you are eager to communicate with this person in the dream, or you're eager to be in their presence, then that's a really good sign that there's something deep inside of you that's saying, we have a good thing going here and I want to continue with it. But if you're trying to avoid the person, or you react to them by turning your back, or you can project your feelings onto the person, they turn their back on you, or you can't find them in a dream, or like you're trying to locate them, they're not answering their phone, they're not in the place where you anticipate them being. These are clues. It's not cut and dried, but as a general rule of thumb, you can look at your reaction and learn a lot about how you really feel about the person.
Because your higher self is probably you're accessing in your dream, your
higher self and also your gut self.
Yes.
Coming from, sorry, I'm in the camera angle here, your gut self, and your heart self. It's really showing you how you really feel. And I also think that you bring up a good point, Marla, is that you can get some higher knowledge that comes to you through your dreams. Carl Jung said that there is this thing that's called the collective unconscious, and it is a storehouse of all of the experiences and memories of the entire human species from the beginning. And your collective unconscious is accessible, or the collective unconscious is accessible through your personal unconscious. So there is a tremendous source of wisdom and knowledge that's available to you, that's accessible through your dreams, because your unconscious mind creates your dreams, and it can pull in from other sources to give you the information you need to make good decisions about your love life, but about any area of your life.
Is that the Akashic records that you're talking about? Is that the same thing? The collective?
No, the Akashic records are a little different. The Akashic records are the imprint of all events, including emotional events inside of people, onto the fabric of space-time. Mm-hmm. The collective unconscious is a little bit different in that you could basically think of it as the internet of the mind. It is something that connects all minds together, and there is a central place where all of this information is stored. So you can actually find out information through the collective unconscious that can help aid you in your everyday life. Now, if you'd like, I love giving examples. I can give you a quick example of
Yes.
this. The guy who had a dream that he was in his warehouse. He had a business and he actually owned the warehouse and he was inside the business. He gets a text message that says, a serial killer is after you. He ignores the message, goes on with what he's doing. He gets another message, 911. The serial killer is in your warehouse. Watch out. So he comes to Reddit Dreams and I speak with him about the dream and I said, well, first thing was, well, the warehouse is a real setting. Okay, well, maybe this isn't related to your business in some kind of way. And then we looked at the symbolism of a serial killer. They are people who methodically and thoughtfully go about the business of killing. Well, think about killing in the figurative sense. If I kill my chances, it means I royally screw up in some kind of way. You can also go in for the kill. This is another phrase that we use, figuratively, that dreams will use the figure of speech and then dramatize it for you. So what he figured out is that one of his suppliers was also a competitor, and that person was setting the dreamer up for the kill.
Oh.
And by knowing what the dream was telling him, giving him the inside scoop, he was able to use that information to be able to protect himself and his business from someone who was acting very friendly and on his side, which is, serial killers, they tend to get your trust first. Do you think they're okay? And then
backstabber.
Oh, yeah. So that's what he figured out from the dream. And that information is something that you could look at it as coming from one of two sources. One is he picked up the subtle clues inside of himself where he had a gut feeling that he was ignoring. Or two, he picked up information through the collective unconscious that also knew what that business rival's intentions were and what gave him the information that he needed. It kind of went out onto the internet of the mind, and it pulled in the information to his personal terminal and said, hey, you need to know this information and I'm delivering it to you. So there is a way that you can find out about things that you otherwise have no way of knowing. I've seen this happen with a relative you haven't talked in a while suddenly gets sick. And the moment that they wake up and they're going, get me to the hospital, is the moment that you're dreaming about that, or soon after.
Yeah.
You can actually pick up information about things, about people, especially people that you're close to, your loved ones. You can find this stuff out from dreams. The thing to be careful of, though, Marla, is that most of the time the stuff is symbolic. Most of the time you are not picking up literal information about people. Once you've studied your dreams for a while and worked with them, though, you get a real good hunch or intuition about which dreams are talking to you through symbolism and it's entirely personal, and which dreams are actually giving you information about people in your life.
It's fascinating. This is fascinating. And I want to ask you one other thing. What do you think about sleep paralysis? That's something that I've had a lot of.
Yeah, and we get a lot of
questions. I just will be paralyzed, screaming. I can't move. I can't scream. I'm like trying to move, and it's so scary. And then finally, I end up being able to, but you feel like you're going to die or something.
Yeah, it's also called REM atonia. Atonia just means slackness of the muscles, and REM is rapid eye movement, and that's when you have the most vivid and powerful dreams. So sleep paralysis is a state when you wake up, but you're still dreaming. And because you're still dreaming, you are in a state of atonia. It means that you are basically paralyzed. Your body cannot move. Now, this is a protective mechanism to keep your body from acting out your dreams. If you dream that you are running or throwing punches or something like that, you don't want to act that out, especially if your honey's next to you in bed and you start, doing this in your sleep. So your dreams do you a favor, they paralyze your body so you won't act it out. But what happens sometimes is you can actually wake up and be in that state of atonia, of paralysis. Now, I've dealt with this not personally, but as somebody who's an expert on dreams, and I get asked, questions about this. And the best thing that you can do if you wake up in a state of sleep paralysis is, one, realize that whatever you're seeing and hearing is an overlay from your dreams. Two, your dreams are going to respond to how you're feeling, and they're going to turn it into imagery. So if you get terrified, you are very likely to start seeing terrifying imagery. And 3, the best thing is to breathe. Take a deep breath. It's the one thing that you can always control. And if you start with controlling your breathing, then you can break the spell of the sleep paralysis most of the time. Now, you know what's really interesting, Marla? On my website on dreams123.net, I have an article on the front page right now about dreams about UFOs and aliens. And we think there have been studies that have shown that a lot of these cases of reported abductions by aliens, they often begin as, I woke up from a dream and I saw the aliens sitting around me and then they took me away. And what's happening is sleep paralysis. The person wakes up, they're scared because they can't move. They're having dream imagery overlaying what they're actually seeing in their, with their eyes open. There's dream imagery that is being superimposed over top of that. And then their dreams pull from their own reservoir of fears to visualize those fears into imagery. So if you fear aliens, that's what you'll see. If you fear dark, shadowy people, or you fear demonic creatures, or you fear your second grade teacher, that is most likely what you're going to end up seeing. So breathe.
And I used to, as a kid, I used to sleepwalk a lot. I'd sleepwalk. Yeah. And that would be kind of embarrassing. I remember doing that at a girlfriend's house. So I had a sleepover with her, and I was, probably 12. And I ended up getting up and walking into her parents' bedroom, and leaning over the dad, and they were like, what's going on? But, yeah, that stopped I think it stopped at about 14.
It's actually common. At that age, you have a lot of stuff going on subconsciously. There is the adult side of you that is becoming activated. It's still just sort of a seed, and it's just starting to grow. But you're still mostly, you have one foot mostly in childhood at the same time. So at that age especially, you tend to sleepwalk a lot. It happened to me a lot at age 18, 19. I started sleepwalking, and people would tell me that, like a roommate told me I walked into his bedroom and it looked like I was doing like some kind of hopscotch or something, and I'm like, I don't remember any of that. And he's like, man, yeah, you were, and he said that I looked at him and I went, shh. And then I just went doing my thing. And then I walked out of his room, closed his door, and walked back into my bedroom. And I'm like, I have no memory of that at all. It can be a very strange experience. But it often happens when you have things that are going on subconsciously. There's a lot of energy that's trying to work its way out of you. Subconscious, mental energy. And you are being disturbed in your sleep by this, and you end up acting it out.
I used to also talk in my sleep, and my parents used to think I was possessed because I'd be about 9, 10, 11. I would sit straight up and start speaking another language. They said it was like in tongues, that they never heard that language, and they thought, what's wrong with her? And then later, when I was lived with a boyfriend, I was in my early 20s, and he said, I had a couple different guys tell me, you speak some kind of weird language in your sleep. I never heard it before.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it was before iPhones or any recorders. This is like, in the 70s and 80s, and I wish I could have heard that. I don't know what I was speaking, And it stopped after the 20s.
Well, there's a relationship between speaking languages that you've never been exposed to and past life memories.
Mm-hmm. Could be past life, a channel. I was talking to a channeled entity, and they said, it could be residue from past lives. You had past lives in Turkey and the Middle East and Ireland, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. There's a term for it that I can't remember right now. I've been talking to Dr. Jim Tucker at University of Virginia, who has studied this in depth and has found cases where reincarnation is the best scientific explanation for the evidence that they gather. People who have incredible memories of past lives, and their children who have never been exposed to any of this historical information, and the people that they're remembering being, it's not like they remember like, I was Napoleon. Well, no, you weren't Napoleon. I'm sorry, but other people are like, my name was Jon Snow, and I lived in Los Angeles in the 1930s, and I worked in Hollywood, and they can remember all of these incredible details. And it's coming from someone who's 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. Yeah. So, this is a real phenomenon. I know we're kind of going far and wide here, but it's something that's very near and dear to my heart. And I also run a forum for people who want to explore past life memories.
Oh, awesome. I'll put all the links below so
Okay.
people can connect
Okay.
with you.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
great.
Yeah, and thank you so much for stopping by and talking dreams and all things sleep. And
Yeah.
I'll put all your links, and you guys, let us know about some of your crazy dreams in the comments.
Hey, and I'll drop by if there is anything that's interesting there. I would especially like to hear from people who have dreamt about someone that they met in the future. This is a rare but distinct phenomena, and I know somebody who, actually, I know a few people who have dreamed about their future mates, their spouses, before actually meeting the people in real life. And there are so many overlapping details to the way that the dream overlapped with reality that you can't write it off as coincidence, that you have to believe what the person knows in their heart is that their dreams actually led them in a very direct and real sort of way to finding the person of their dreams. It can be a literal thing, Marla. You can actually see your future partner in a dream. It's just very rare, and I don't want people to think that, it's automatically going to happen for them, but I want to let them know that it can happen.
That's
And so,
fascinating. All right, so you guys put your questions below, and we'll have Jason come back and we'll answer them for you. Yay!
yeah,
All right.
Marla, thank you. I
Thanks.
really appreciate you having me on. It's great speaking with you
Thanks,
and,
Jason.
and with your audience.